G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching my content. I really do appreciate it, as you have given me the pleasure and the privilege to talk about the greatest sport in the world, rugby. As you can tell, I'm extremely excited because Six Nations is about to kick off this weekend, and this year, the Six Nations is particularly important because it's Rugby World Cup year, and the Six Nations is the first stop to Rugby World Cup glory. And Wales versus Ireland will kick off the Six Nation tournament this year. And a lot of questions needs to be answered for both teams. Warren Gatland has been recalled to the Welsh side, and Ireland has once again recalled Johnny Sexton and the number 10 jersey. So yeah, before we dive into the exact lineup for the both teams, let's quickly have a look at the news going into this test match. So bad news coming out of the Ireland camp. Just literally before they're about to announce the team, Ty Furlong has been withdrawn due to a calf injury, and he has suffered like injuries for quite a while now. He has not been, basically he's not available to play. Robbie Henshaw is also out due to a wrist injury for the Irish side, and hooker Ronan Keller is also not available for selections in the Irish team. So yeah, a little bit of spanner into the works for Andy Farrell when it comes to selections. Wales on the other side has also entered this first test match with a big injury just before they're about to announce their official team, with the fullback Lee Halfpenny being withdrawn due to back spasm. That sounds pretty bad. Halfpenny has been struggling with injury issues for the last year, more than a year now almost, and as a result, Liam Williams is slotted into the fullback position on his behalf. Now the referee. We can't go through a rugby match without talking about the most important person on the field. Carl Dixon will be the referee. Carl Dixon is an English referee, probably the buffest referee in the world, and he's really, really good at. He's really, gonna be what do you call it? He's really, trigger heavy when it comes to giving out yellow cards and red cards. So yeah, the result of this test match could really come down to discipline, and could really just end up being a couple of yellow cards, maybe even a red card that will eventually decide on the result. So yeah, Carl Dickinson is definitely a guy who's very, very happy to send people off for infringements. Going into this test match, obviously two teams on opposite side of the spectrum in terms of their performances last year. Wales had probably the worst year like ever in their history, losing to Italy in the Six Nations, losing to Georgia in the end of the November Test series, and then they also lost the Wallabies in a game where they had more than 20 points of advantage going into the second half, to throw all that away to lose. And a really, really poor year led to their coach obviously getting fired, Wayne Pivac getting fired, and the recall of the recall of Warren Gatland. So yeah, they did have a little bit of a bright spot last year, beating South Africa away for the first time ever, and also beating Scotland in a game where I did feel like Scotland was the favourite going into the test match after Scotland beating England in the opening test match. So yeah, beating Scotland at home was also quite a result that Wales wanted. With that being said, Ireland on the opposite of the spectrum, second best team in the world, if not for France. Some very, very impressive achievements last year, only losing to France away in France in the Six Nations last year. Completely dominated and that was again without Johnny Sexton, the most important man in the team, and then went on to win a away test series in New Zealand against the All Blacks, something that's even a struggle for a Lions tour team. And absolutely probably one of the hardest achievements to do in sport. Ireland was able to do that last year against New Zealand. It was just absolutely beautiful for the Irish fans. And also to finish out the November Test series undefeated was also a good result for their team. And the weather in Cardiff will be 9 degrees on the weekend. It will be raining, but there's a roof. Hopefully the Wales Rugby Union has the money to repair the roof. As we saw last time, he wasn't able to close against the Wallabies, leaving like an area in the middle of the field where it's completely drenched and wet. But hopefully they can fix that. But who knows? Maybe they're going to be spending their money on lawyers due to their, their abuse allegations in the union. Anyway, with that being said, so let's have a look at the selections now. It's actually really, really interesting. When I saw the selections today, it was very evident that this is the Warren Gatland selection, because the majority of the team is Ospreys players. Well, we know that Gatland really likes to select a lot of the team around the core set of players that he sort of favors, and then he likes to select the larger team around those players. So a large part of the core makeup of the Wild side is the Ospreys. And also, I was thinking about this as well. Like, how is Warren Gatland going to fix this Welsh team? It's not like, you're not going to be able to, teach an old dog new tricks sort of thing. So I do feel like he's just going to go back to his bread and butter. And it's just going to be sort of like try to stale out the game, try to slow the game down, and really try to, bring that, bring that, one thing that I did think that and Gatland was able to do really well against every team in the world is it's not about how good Wales can lift their performance, it's about how much Wales can disrupt the opposition and bring the opposition down to the Welsh level. That's something that Warren Gatland has achieved really good for Wales when he was in charge, and I do think that this will be the strategy going into this test match. With Ireland, Andy Farrell has stuck to pretty much the strongest team they could possibly select with those injuries aside. With Johnny Sexton at the helm in number 10 jersey. And I was actually really surprised that Ross Byrne didn't get the start at number 10. Shows that Andy Farrell has so much trust in Johnny Sexton. It's almost like, because Leinster at the moment is the number 1 team in Europe by far. In the Champions League, they're just unbelievably unstoppable in the Champions League. And it's all achieved with Ross Byrne at 10, not Johnny Sexton. Johnny Sexton has been basically resting. So I was really surprised to not see Ross Byrne at 10. And it shows Andy Farrell has that trust in Johnny Sexton, almost like, like an old car, if you think about it, right? When it comes to an old car, if you don't start the engine for too long, you might not start anymore. So it's almost like Andy Farrell wants to make sure that engine still works, trying to put Johnny Sexton on the field to make sure that he's still up to the test level standards that he needs going into the Rugby World Cup. And I do feel like that's the reason Sexton was selected over Ross Byrne, because in terms of performance, I thought there was tremendous improvement from Byrne, and I was surprised that he's not selected. But anyway, let's have a look at the lineup for both teams. So coming in the propositions for Wales, Gareth Thomas comes in number 1, Ken Owens at number 2, Thomas Francis number 3. This scrum pack, especially Thomas Francis and Gareth Thomas, are both from the Ospreys, and they're playing the URC. They're scrummaging against the South Africans, the best scrummagers in the world, and they've done they've done quite well. Like, they were able to hold themselves against the South Africans. I watched some of the games, so I was actually surprised. I thought they were just gonna get pummeled a bit, but they did really well. So with that being said, with Ty Furlong out, I do think that there is no particular advantage for the Irish side when it comes to scrummaging. So with Andrew Porter coming in number 1, Danny Sheehan number 2, as you kind of like expect the Irish lineup. Finlay Bedlam gets caught off on the bench to the tight head position. In some sense, I did feel like with Ty Furlong missing, if Ty Furlong is here, I would say this would be an even matchup. With Ty Furlong missing, we might see the Welsh scrum being a little bit better than the Ireland side. In terms of scrummaging, so we might see that this weekend. Coming into the lock positions, Adam Beard and Alwyn Jones, the two go-to guy for Warren Gatland. Once again, the two Ospreys guys. I'm sure the lineouts will be a focus for Warren Gatland to make sure that the lineout, the set piece gets drilled down as safe as possible. And then he clearly shows he's supporting the experience. He's supporting his go-to guys, Alan Wynne-Jones and Adam Beard. An interesting note here: Ken Owens is actually the captain for the Welsh side, not Alan Wynne-Jones, not Dan Bigger. So that's an interesting thing to take as well. For the Irish side, Ty Byrne and James Ryan gets the lock position. I do think that James Ryan's very good at lineout, just as good as Alan Wynne-Jones, maybe a little bit better, maybe a little bit faster in the lineouts. But Ty Byrne definitely has an advantage at the breakdowns. He was probably the breakdown specialist that won the game over New Zealand last year in July. So I do think that the breakdown is going to be a key area Warren Gatland would have focused his team on. But I do give the edge to Ty Byrne in this regard. Now, speaking of the breakdowns, the loose forwards is where the battle is going to be won and lost for both teams. Ireland, Ireland's specialty is fast breakdown, fast breakdown, fast ball, fast breakdown, fast ball, and just try to run you over with their speed. And all that fast ball and breakdown speed comes from their loose forwards. Josh Van der Fleer is like by far the best flanker in the world. His work rate, his speed, he has the ability to read the game, to put himself in positions as an attacking weapon when he needs to, and also as a defensive weapon when he can turn over the ball in critical moments for his team. He's done it again and again for Leinster in the Champions League, Champions Cup, European Cup, whatever you call it. And and he is the key for the Irish side to win the game. And Peter O'Mahony comes in number 6 again, bring that experience, and Caelan Doris finishes off the number 8 position, pretty much the go-to guy nowadays for Andy Farrell. When it comes to Welsh, Jack Morgan, a relatively new face to the Welsh side, gets number 6 jersey. Justin Tipperick, whilst extremely experienced, we saw last game he played against the Wallabies, the trip, got himself sent off. Really needs to keep himself in control. Like we said, the referee is Carl Dickinson. If he does something like that again, he can easily see a yellow card, maybe even a red card this game. So the discipline is really, really important for the Welsh side, especially under that speed pressure coming in from the Irish loose forwards. Faletau rounds up the Welsh pack with the number 8 jersey. So yeah, this is I think the Gatland will definitely have looked at the breakdown speed, and I think one of the things that the Welsh team will be doing is try to slow it down the breakdown legally without getting themselves the yellow card. So yeah, I think we'll see how this goes, but I'm 100% sure this will be an area that they worked on a lot in training for Gatland. Now he comes to the back line. The way to victory for the Welsh team will come to Dan Biggar and the kicking game. I have no doubt about that. It's the Welsh, like I said, they don't care about winning big margins. All they care about is just try to eke out a win any way they can do it. And at home with home ground advantage, I have no doubt that the strategy will be with the kicking game, try to control territory and try to apply forward pressure, slowing the game down, and try to get Dan Biggar to pop some conversions over. So Tom Williams comes in at number 9. As we already talked about, Dan Biggar, number 10. The kicking game will be coming out of Dan Biggar more than anything else. The most important part of the Warren Gatland strategy. For the Irish side, the key strategy for the Irish side, believe it or not, is actually Jamison Gibson-Parks. Gibson Parks is noticeably faster at the breakdown than his substitute, Conor Murray. So when Gibson Parks is on the field, the breakdown speed is noticeably quicker. And with quick balls, he allows Johnny Sexton to direct the traffic, allows Johnny Sexton to set up the plays, and just really keeping the momentum rolling forward. It's just the next piece of the puzzle that brings the hard, that basically takes the hard work that the forwards created and bringing that to the back line, bringing it to the Johnny Sexton to work with. Like I mentioned before, Johnny Sexton, when he comes to up against Dan Biggar, he'll be more likely to work the attacking rugby and less likely to working on the kicking game. But yeah, I think it'll be Welsh. Yeah, the Welsh will be doing their best to try to force Johnny Sexton into a kicking game. So when it comes to the back line, Rio Dyer gets number 11 jersey with Luis Zametz injured. James Lowe gets number 11 for Ireland. A very, very interesting selection here once again. And this is a very big hallmark of a Warren Gatland selection. Joe Hawkins, another Osprey guy, gets selected over Tompkins. I was really mind blown when I saw this because Tompkins has been consistently the highest work rate, the most dangerous guy, the most run meters in the Welsh backline consistently every game, and he's not selected at 12. I was genuinely mind blown. So this Joe Hawkins guy better be amazing because Tompkins was not just the best back for the Welsh team. He was the best player in terms of work rate for the overall Welsh setup. It's just so good. I was absolutely mind blown when Hawkins is selected over Tompkins. Obviously, Tompkins plays for the Saracens, and Saracens hasn't been the most impressive rugby these days. So maybe that's the reason. But still, it's very clear Warren Gatland selection. He wants to select people from the same team, the Ospreys, and Joe Hawkins gets the 12 jersey. And we shall see how this is going to go. He's up against Stuart McCloskey, that's like we mentioned. He comes in for an injury, replacement number 12. George North gets number 13, another Osprey guy. Gary Ringrose gets number 13 for Ireland. Speaking of Ireland, most of the Irish team is from the Leinster side. But anyway, Gary Ringrose gets number 13. Josh Adams gets number 14 for Wales. Mac Hansen gets number 14 for Ireland. Hansen, ever since he's been added for the Irish winger, has really shown to be quite a dangerous weapon. So when he comes to the king again, Mac Hansen is one of the danger part Dan Biggar needs to avoid, because Mac Hansen's counter-attack is quite good and quite deadly. Finally, the fullback position, Liam Williams comes number 15, and Hugo Keenan. Two guys exceptionally good under the high ball, extremely good for the kicking game. Yeah, you really, it's going to come down to the Dans, who's going to be more clinical when it comes to kicking game. So from the Wales perspective, the strategy is trying to draw Ireland into the kicking game by slowing down the ball at the breakdown, and then try to, eke out a win over the Irish side, essentially. However, the bench, there's a huge difference in terms of skill between the two teams. Ireland is probably going to hurt Wales, where Wales is the weakest, which is their ability to finish the game. We saw again and again and again. All of their losses last year against Georgia, against Australia, the big throw at the end, against Italy, all these big sort of like really, really poor performances by the Welsh team, regrettable performances by the Welsh team, were because of their inability to finish the game strong in the second half. And yeah, this Welsh bench really outgunned by the Irish bench. So yeah, I do think that in the second half, I do see that the Wales team might just get run over by the Irish side. So first up, Scott Baldwin comes in number 16 for Wales. Rhys Carey comes in at number 17 for Wales. And Dylan Lewis, number 18 for the Welsh front row. For the front row in the Irish side, Rob Herring, Cian Healy, number 17, and Tom O'Toole gets the number 18 jersey for Ireland. Now here's the scary part for the Irish side, right? Number 19, Ian Henderson only gets a reserve position. Jack Conan, another huge loose forward, gets a reserve spot at number 20. I mean, Ian Henderson and Jack Conan could be the starting team in any test level international team. Only gets to start on the bench. They're up against a relatively new guy, Daffel Jenkins at number 19, only one test cap for Wales. And Tommy Raphael, only 4 caps for Wales, comes in number 20. Number 21, Rhys Webb gets recalled for Wales. Conor Murray, the veteran, 100 test caps, gets the Northern number 21 for Ireland. Owen Williams, another call up, only 3 test caps, number 22. He will be replacing the fly half, covering the fly half position. Ross Byrne, like I said, I'm really surprised that he didn't get the starting jersey. Gets the reserve number 10 jersey and number 22 jersey for Ireland. And finally, Alex Cuthbert finished the number 23 jerseys for Wales. And Bundy Aki, the big line breaker, big game breaker, gets the number 23 jersey for Ireland. I do think that, yeah, the Irish bench is way too scary for the Welsh team to handle. I think Wales, even with their starting team, even if the starting team somehow was able to play the full 80 minutes, let's assume they're going to be, even if the starting team couldn't really handle this, will struggle to handle with this Irish reserve. So yeah, this is going to be difficult. So obviously this game is at home. Warren Gatland will have a strategy to stall the game. There is, if I'm a gambling guy, I probably put some money on Wales putting out an upset. I do think it's possible, but with logic, with what's presented to me, I would have to say Ireland win by 5. Yeah. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your predictions, guys. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you guys a little bit later for the England versus Scotland preview. Have a good one. Cheers.